Hey everybody, and welcome to Shooting with Yankee. As always, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Today's topic is one that could be a little bit complicated. It's about private businesses that are open to the public. If a business is opening its doors to the public, should it be able to tell you that you don't have your Second Amendment rights on their property? Now remember, this is not their home or their domicile or anything like that. It's a place that's open to the public. So should they be able to tell you, you can't carry in here? And if they do tell you, you can't carry in here, if you believe that that's their right, should they have some added responsibility? Like if something happens to you, you get injured, someone breaks in, wants to rob them, they stab you. Should that be their responsibility now because they disarmed you when you came on their property? So that's what I want to know, Dave. What do you think? Does their private rights say they can't, that you can't carry? Should they be able to do that if they're open to the public? And if so, should they bear any extra responsibility? I'm going to weigh in here and I'm going to say that I actually think there should be specific legislation written about businesses open to the public. And I think they should be allowed to ban open carry if they think it's going to negatively affect their business. But as far as concealed carry, if they can't see it, I don't think they should be able to ban that because they are making their business part of the public domain because you can just walk in. You don't have to have an invitation. You don't have to ring a bell or anything. So you should just be able to go in there as long as you're not damaging their business. So I can see where they would be allowed to ban open carry. But I don't think they should be allowed to ban concealed carry. And if you do ban concealed carry, like I said, I definitely think businesses should start being held responsible if they disarm people. If you go to the mall, like a friend of mine was shot and killed at the Clackamas Mall, if that happens, the family should be able to sue the mall because they say you can't defend yourself in here. This is a no defense zone. So we welcome bad guys to come in here and do things. They will be unopposed. So I think they should be responsible for that if they do that. And I think it would make a big change in the industry because right now a lot of businesses do it because their insurance company mandates it. The last bar I owned, when I was getting my insurance, the day before we were scheduled to open, they drove by and they said, hey, there's no sign in your window that says no carry. So we're not going to start your insurance policy when start date tomorrow. So I had to go out and have a custom sign made that said no open carry and had a picture of a guy with a gun with, the slash through it. And they drove the agent by and he goes, yep, it's there now. You're fine. Because they don't know the difference what open carry meant. But they would not insure me if I allowed people to carry. If we made it a law that if you're open to the public, you have to allow people to exercise their right to self-defense or else you're liable. Well, insurance companies would start telling businesses, well, you can't ban carry because we don't want to be responsible if a bad guy comes in there and does something and you've disarmed everybody. I think it'd make a big change. So I would love to hold businesses responsible and hold insurance companies responsible. That would probably change their attitudes towards carry in businesses. So that's my opinion. Let's go see what other people have to say here. Dead Soul Walking didn't weigh in, but he did join the WAP. He's in my WAP now. So everybody that's in there already, move on over, let him slide in. Everything should be all greased up and slick for him. He shouldn't have any trouble wedging himself in there. John Heasley said, I don't want to wait to win. He's talking about something else. He's just babbling about something that hopefully will never happen. Telos, I don't recognize that name. I chimed in and says, in the end, it's a private business. They can set the rules, in my opinion. Well, that's true to an extent. And like I used the example earlier when we were talking before the chat, if I had just rented a building, set up a bar, and just sat in there with my friends, the state wouldn't have a lot of say in what it did. But the moment I open it up to the public and anybody can walk in, well, then I got to start having ADA toilets. I got to start having ramps. I got to start having rails on stairs. Because insurance companies have forced those things upon, businesses. So seems like it's not as cut and dry when you're not talking about just your private property where people have to have your special permission or ask entry or anything like that. It's a little bit different, I think. Tello said, to be clear, I don't like it, but I also believe if it's your business within a reason, you get to set the rules. Well, I agree too, within reason. But I don't think denying people their Second Amendment rights, their rights to self-defense on property that is open to the public to be all that cut and dry myself. My opinion. Lee Derby says they shouldn't be allowed to infringe on your Second Amendment rights. Well, he's an absolutist. Now, I can see, like I said, where they ban open carry, because you can say that, hey, I run a martini lounge. I've owned a martini lounge, and it's not the kind of customers that would want to see someone sitting around with a gun. It would make them nervous. They'd probably leave, go somewhere else. So I would be like, if you're going to carry in here, cover it up so you don't spook my, more sensitive guests. Now, when we opened up once a month for breakfast for our local gun forum, well, then you could open carry all you wanted then, because it was a bunch it was a private event for them. But normally I'd ask people not to open carry. I don't think I ever had to really ask anyone not to open carry, and most people who carry conceal carry. Edgar Cortez, I think all public places should allow customers to conceal carry. These public places would be safer. Private places are another matter. I agree. Private property is a different thing. You come in my house, I have every right to say you can't carry on my property. You want to walk on my land. Like if you say, hey, you've got a lake on your land over here. Can we go fish? And I'm like, that's fine. No fucking weapons, no rifles, no shotguns. I don't want you killing any wildlife other than fish, and they deserve it. So I have every right to do that. But if I open up a business that says, here's a fully stocked lake, everybody come fish, well, then I don't know if I have a right to tell them no concealed carry, because what if they get attacked by a bear and they didn't have their gun? Would I be responsible for that? I think I might be. So there's something to think about. Telos chimed in again, said, we'll agree if they do have responsibility to handle damages or harm in some way, either by security or insurance. Yes, I do agree with that. They should have security at the very least to protect you, something that throws a layer of defense between you and the bad guy. Mikey D said, you decide the rules in your house. Yes, they're their rules. It's not their house, though. That's a big difference. Mr. Furley, they have the right to ban carry. I won't go there. Me either. I won't go any place that says, no. Well, either I'll just carry and say, fuck them, and I've been thrown out of a couple places for carry, and I've got videos on my webpage, on my YouTube account, where I got thrown out of IKEA one time. I got thrown out of Home Depot one time for open carrying. And I think the time in the Home Depot, I didn't even remember I was carrying it openly, but so I went over and spent thousands of dollars at Lowe's instead. I meant not to be drinking that during the chat. I forgot. So yeah, you can go watch those videos if you want to see me get kicked out of someplace. George Powell, who finally gave me my $14 by buying those 2 shirts he had me design. Someone else bought those shirts too before you did. So I actually did sell 2 of them before you actually bought them, because someone else bought the ones with the tuxedo cat instead of the regular cat. George Powell says, sadly, yes, just like they can deny service or trespass for any reason, it's a private business, but there should be a criminal penalty. But should there be a criminal penalty? No. Oh, you mean like if someone comes on there and they ask them to leave? Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do anything but trespass. Like, oh, you carried into the mall, you're going to prison. No, that's stupid. I hate states that have laws like that. That's ridiculous. And here's the thing. You can't really deny service to anybody for any reason. If, like, say someone came in who had, polio, and I said, yeah, not in my bar. You're not drinking here, buddy. Get on down the road. And they sued me, and I could not articulate a very good reason why I didn't serve them other than the fact they have polio. Well, I'm going to owe them a whole lot of money. I'm probably going to send their kids to college. I almost said send their kids to prison. They'll do that on their own. But yeah, you can't really deny service for any reason. That's a really big misnomer. That's as bad as the customer's always right. Nah, I've had a lot of wrong customers in my day. We got one last person weighing in here who said, a Venezuelan street gang hangs out at my local mall, so I believe that it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Well, I carry every time I go to the mall. I don't think I've ever gone to the mall unarmed. I'm not going to the mall unarmed. That's where all the gangbangers hang out around here. You go to Lloyd Center. I think they're still open. I don't even know if they're still open. They got really bad. It got to where the last time I was at the Lloyd Center that I actually remember being there. We left right as cops were coming in. We were pulling out of the parking building. A lot of cops swarmed into the parking building and to the Macy's entrance, and there'd been a shooting. And we thought we heard something as we were leaving, but I didn't know it was a car backfiring. What was it? But it was like bop, bop, bop. Turned out there'd been a gang shooting down in the food court. So we got out of there just in time. I don't think anybody got hit because I think they're bad shots, but so yeah. And plus our friend got killed at the shooting in the Clackamas Mall. If you read about the female who was a nurse, that was a friend of ours. It's the wife of one of our friends, or used to be a coworker. Haven't really seen him since. I don't even know if he's still in town. Shortly after, I think he moved. But thanks everybody for coming. Everybody who weighed in tonight, I appreciate the input. You can see there were some varied opinions there, but I think there's some aspects a lot of people don't think about when they think about this topic. And all I can ask people is to think about it, because I think it's a way we could make some change. So thanks everybody who did weigh in. How about you out there in YouTube land? What do you feel about this topic? Or do you feel any differently now that you've heard what we all have to say? Maybe you think about something you didn't think of before. Let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to weigh in on one of these topics live, come to one of our live chats. We hold them every day pretty much at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So come on in. And notice I didn't say Wednesdays are at 7 because I don't think we're doing that anymore. Screw Never Enough Ammo. He won't let me know anything. So screw him. He's become one of them highfalutin northerners. If you want to weigh in on one of these topics, like I said, come into one of the live chats. We do them every night at 6 p.m. I will see you all again tomorrow, at least, hopefully, everybody that was here, and hopefully some of you all. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.